Hey guys, what's up? lightboltjoe here. Today we're going to discuss Disneyland versus Disney World. Hopefully this won't be long, because I'm exhausted. My brother Vinny and I, did a LA trip, Southern California trip. We left New York, we left JFK at, some stupid, ungodly hour Thursday morning, did the beaches. Thursday night we went to downtown Disney. We stayed at the Camelot Hotel something. I don't remember the name of it. It's literally across the street from Disneyland Resort. Oh, amazing. So, we get to the hotel, we check in, we do the beaches, we come back at night. And we do downtown Disney. So we see all the stores, we see the restaurants, and everything is under construction. There's a lot of remodeling going on. So I'm curious to see what it's going to look like. Everything is probably all scheduled to open when Star Wars Land opens. That's my guess. The best guess I have. It's hard to say. It's hard to talk about this. I'm not going to lie. Let's put a pause on Disneyland. Okay. Florida Disney World, right, has Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom. I'm missing something. Epcot, 2 water parks, downtown Disney. So technically 7 things. I've never been to the water parks. I've never had an interest, so that knocks out 2. Magic Kingdom, yes. Animal Kingdom, yes. I don't really like Animal Kingdom because I don't like zoos, but it's more of a... What's the word? It's not a reservation. It's not a rehabilitation. Sanctuary? Let's go with sanctuary for certain animals, I guess. I still don't like seeing wild animals in setups. It annoys me. Hollywood Studios, which used to be called MGM Studios, awesome. Epcot, awesome. Magic Kingdom is awesome. Downtown Disney, awesome, right? Okay. You need to take a shuttle or a bus from one park to another, so it takes a while to get from place to place. And each park is massive, but each park is amazing and magical, right? Their system is you wear a magic band. Those of you who have been obviously to Disney World, you know what a magic band is. You put it on your wrist, check into your hotel if it's a Disney resort, check into the park. Oh, you took a picture, you got photo pass, scan, you got fast pass, scan. It's super convenient having this on your wrist. Their fast pass at Disney World has, you can like book fast pass in months in advance kind of a thing. So if I wanted to go on Space Mountain in December, I could book it now to reserve a slot kind of a thing. But then when I'm there, I can use an app and I can change it or like add another one kind of a thing. It's kind of not all there. Okay. So that's that. Disneyland's Fast Pass, you have that opportunity of doing a $10 upcharge on your ticket for Max Pass. So it's an app on your phone, the Disneyland app. You can see, it's an amazing concept. You see the wait times for everything. You see what rides are closed, what rides reopened. For both parks, you have Disneyland Park and you have California Adventure Park. All within like 300 feet of each other. It's just one giant plaza. It's super convenient, man. You get bag checked once, and it's the whole area. So you have downtown Disney in front of you once you get into the resort. You have California Adventure Park to the south. You have Disneyland Park to the north. You have this Max Pass, and Vinny and I got a 2-day park hopper. So we went from park to park to park to park, depending on where our fast passes were, right? So, for instance, the very first day. Now, you see I'm jittery because all these thoughts are coming to mind. Vinny and I planned the hell out of this trip. Emphasis, the hell out of this trip, okay? We did our homework. I watched so many YouTube videos. We studied the map. We did our homework, right? This is why we had an amazing, magical time at Disneyland. And it was funny because everyone kept saying, oh, you've been to Disney World so much, you're going to hate Disneyland because it's so much smaller. And I'm like, yeah, but it's Disney. It's going to be different, but it's still Disney. It's going to be magical. You just make the magic happen. You got a plan. So we get into Disneyland very first day, 9 a.m. We go into Adventureland, where we do the Indiana Jones ride. It's like a 5-minute wait, if that. This was this past Friday. We then go to What did we walk on? We walked on to Pirates of the Caribbean. Walked on. Didn't even wait. Literally walked on the ride. Didn't wait for anything. Amazing. It was probably like 9:30ish in the morning at that point. Awesome. Difference between Florida Pirates and California Pirates is California Pirates. It's pretty entertaining because you have to go through a bayou first because you're in New Orleans Square kind of a thing, and then like you drop, and then you have the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and then you drop again and you have more Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Florida, it's just a smooth sailing kind of course, so there's no dropping. Benefits of both. What do I like better? I don't really know. Haunted Mansion was closed because they were redoing it for Halloween, and I was crying my eyes out because they had all the Nightmare Before Christmas stuff everywhere, and I'm a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan. It's the tattoo on my leg. And, yeah, I took a picture. Couldn't actually see it, so say hello. Bobsleds was closed for refurbishment. Star Wars Land obviously opens next year, 2 years from now, one of those things. What did we do after that? Oh, we went on Splash Mountain. Again, walked right on. Walked on to Winnie the Pooh, because we were in Critter Country at that point. And we went back to Frontierland, and we went straight onto Big Thunder Mountain, which was awesome. And then at that point, Vinny set up a Fast Pass for Space Mountain. So we jumped to Space Mountain. We did Space Mountain. Space Mountain, California is so much better than Space Mountain, Florida. And everyone keeps saying that. And that's the cool thing. When you watch these videos about Disneyland and Disney World, everyone's like, oh, Space Mountain in California is so much better. Let me tell you why. Because I'm a roller coaster enthusiast. I hate wooden roller coasters. They are terrifying. Because they're crickety and they're just... They're bruised. You get bruised and you break and it's just painful. Steel roller coasters, smooth and just G-force, and there's no corkscrews in Space Mountain, thankfully, but, you know, no element loops, no half loops, nothing like that. Space Mountain in California is a steel indoor coaster. Space Mountain in Florida is a wooden indoor coaster. Obviously, the steel one is better because it's not junkety and it's not terrifying. I'm not a big fan of doing rides in the dark in general. I have a weird equilibrium. Doing a tower up and down thing, that kind of annoys the hell out of me, but whatever. So Space Mountain in Cali, the ride is better, but the queue line for Space Mountain in Florida is better. This is the thing. This is how you compare. Some park has some elements better than the other. Some parts have elements that are worse than the other. Just comparisons, but that's fine. That's okay. What did we do after that? Oh, while we were on the brief line for Space Mountain, he did a fast pass. Boop, 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 to run across to California Adventure Park to do Radiator Springs Racers, which is the big cars ride, which is the big wait, right? So we run into California Adventure Park, take a quick picture with Oswald, after we do Toontown, stuff like that, walk through Fantasyland, Storybrooke very briefly, do Radiator Springs Racers in Cars Land. Awesome freaking ride, man. Also, I understand why it's the most popular ride out of all of those. Minus Peter Pan's Flight, and we'll get into that. So, we did that. We jumped on Incredicoaster, because that was a 30-minute wait, so we just walked on that. But, it said 30 minutes, but we only waited online for 17 minutes. And I'm good with numbers, remember? I timed it. The clock said 30, we stood on the line for 17. Didn't have a fast pass, wasn't a single rider line, regular queue. 17 minutes for Incredicoaster. Amazing. Which was convenient, because then it broke down, and then didn't open again on Saturday, so it was just broken for the rest of the weekend. So we did it once, and it was one of the greatest coasters we've ever been on. And it was awesome. What else? We were just bouncing from park to park to park, setting up fast pass after fast pass, and then we had downtime, and we ate, and we laughed, and we sat, and we were old people, and just watching the tourists, because we were tourists, and it was cool seeing all of these, like, these fit LA dads, you know, just covered in tattoos, you know, with their kids. And, like, I don't understand bringing your child to a Disneyland, to be completely honest, if they're under the age of 5, because they're not going to remember anything. So, these poor babies are just, like, crying and passing out, and the parents are like, no, you're gonna meet Mickey Mouse. But, like, I don't get it. Meeting Mickey was fun. Meeting Daisy was hysterical. Donald Duck was hysterical. Minnie was great. Pluto was fun. We happened to run into him on an airplane, like, throughout, it was near, Soarin' in California Adventure Park. Little things like that. The Guardians of the Galaxy breakout from Tavon's Collection ride, which was the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. so much better than Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, because nobody cares about Twilight Zone anymore. This is why they redid it into the Guardians ride, right? So people were first originally complaining, no, it's a classic, you can't get rid of it, it's been there for decades. But the lines, it wasn't that popular anymore, so they had to revamp it. And it makes perfect sense, because Guardians of the Galaxy is hot. There's a lot of controversy with the third movie happening. I get it, I understand. It's unfortunate. The cast is amazing. James Gunn is an amazing artist, so we'll see what happens with the third movie. But having it set up as Tavon's collection, and he collected the Guardians, and Rocket breaks out, and Rocket is one of the greatest animatronics I've ever seen in both Disney World and Disneyland. Super sophisticated, awesome. So that was cool, but again, it's an up and down in the dark. I can't do that for too long, because my head and stomach just doesn't work. So there was a lot of snacks. Survival tip, pack fruit / buy fruit while you're there. They had fruit stands everywhere in both parks, and it was awesome. They have this Monsters, Inc. ride, which Florida doesn't have, called Mike and Sully to the Rescue, and you literally are in a ride going through Monstropolis, going through Harryhausen's, which smells like ginger, going through the Monsters, Inc. locker room, going through the scare floor, going through Monsters, Inc. in general with the doors. Animatronics were awesome. We went on it twice. It was so cool, because you're in a taxi. You're getting a tour of Monstropolis, and then all of a sudden news breaks, and it's like, we interrupt this program to bring a news bulletin. There's a child loose in Monstropolis. It's toxic and dangerous. Do not touch it if you see it. Because it's Boo, and Boo's wreaking havoc through Monsters, Inc., and it was such... That and the Cars ride. The Cars Radiator Springs Racers, probably the two greatest rides of the entirety of all of the parks combined. I don't know, man, it's just super cool. The thing I noticed, the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland Park was the original version of Dinosaurs, which is in Animal Kingdom in Florida. It's the same exact concept. You sit in a truck thing and you bounce around and like do an adventure. I don't like dark rides. I've said this a few times, but that was where the inspiration for Dinosaurs came from. What else? Day 2, Biddy and I did the small rides at first, because Peter Pan's Flight is the most popular ride when it comes to non-fast pass rides. And Peter Pan's Flight is awesome. The Peter Pan Flight in California is the same in Florida. The Little Mermaid ride in Florida is the same as California, so those are the same things. The Winnie the Pooh ride is different in both places. The California one's way more trippy than the Floridian one. There's an Alice in Wonderland ride in California, which is pretty cool. There's none in Florida. The teacups don't count, because it's the teacup ride. There's a specific Alice in Wonderland thing. But Peter Pan was awesome. We did Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which, I don't know the movie, but you wind up in hell, and I don't know how it's a children's ride. It's very interesting. Snow White's Scary Adventure, Pinocchio's something. We did all the kiddie rides, but you can smell the old rides, because they smell old. And then you go on the new rides, and they smell new. So it's kind of cool seeing a new car versus an old car. But planning. You need to plan. Do your research. Watch all the videos by Mr. Cheesy Pop. Shout out to Max right there, because he knows what he's talking about when it comes to Disneyland. He's been to Disney World a few times. He's one of those media people that gets invited to all these new parks and stuff. So whenever I get to Disney World, I'll get to see Toy Story Land. It's pretty entertaining, but plan. Do your research. Study the maps. Do what works for you, because when you do Disney, my version of doing Disney, mine and my brother's version of doing Disney is probably different than your version. Maybe you just want to go to the restaurants and watch the shows. That's your version of doing Disney. That's perfectly fun. You did Disney. Maybe your version is going on just the kiddie rides because you have children. That's your version of doing Disney. That's cool. That's fine. He and I wanted to do all the big rides that first day, which we did. And then we did everything else, plus other big rides, the rest of the time. So collectively, we did Pirates 3 times. We did Big Thunder Mountain 3 times. We did Cars Radiator Springs Racers 3 times. We had a blast. 14-hour days, Friday and Saturday. We walked 14 miles the Friday, we walked 13 miles Saturday because we were exhausted and needed to sit. So we took the train, we took the monorail, we went on the Finding Nemo submarine ride, which was terrifying but awesome at the same time because you're semi-submerged underwater. It was fun. It was just a great atmosphere. All the cast members were real. Like if they were tired, you saw it. You didn't see like fake smiles on. Because at Disney World, everyone has a smile on and it's kind of creepy, but was magical. It was a magical time. Interactions with everyone. We were all wearing the same shirts from Target. It was just super fun. Do you have questions of my ranting in a good way? How was your Disney experiences? What do you think of Land versus World? Do you agree with me that Mike and Silly to the Rescue is the best ride in all of the Disney parks of America? I haven't been to the ones internationally. Comment. Please comment down below. Join the discussion. Mucho mahalo, guys.